I think there's something to that as well in terms of being in the position I am now, that guys sort of, I guess, appreciate my perspective. I've seen just about anything you could see here. I've seen the highs, I've seen the lows, kind of just tried to be consistent through it all. Coming in, I was part of Coach D's last class, was here for 4 years under Coach Tucker, Coach Barnett. Like I said, saw a lot in those 4 years, and then decided to stick around and help build this thing with Coach Smith, who I really believe in. And so, yeah, it's been a fantastic journey, and hoping to go out on a high note.
Can you sense the respect that when you talk, some guys listen?
I think there's some of that. Again, I think that comes from my experience, and just my perspective on things, being around this game for so long and being at this place for so long, especially some of the new guys that are just getting here, freshmen, transfers, that trying to figure out what it means to be a Spartan, what it means to be a part of this place. Just sort of having me as someone who can explain that to them and sort of show them the way of what we're trying to get done here and how it's been done here in the past, and trying to sort of set the tone.
So what makes a great leader for a football team, and was there someone in your early years that you said, man, if I'm ever a captain, I want to be like that guy?
Yeah, I think a big part of being a leader is care and ownership. As a leader, you're responsible for whether or not the mission gets accomplished. We had military guys in here, a couple years ago. I talked about being a leader and their field, and a lot of that stuff hit home with me. You're ultimately responsible, so you have to care for and take care of your teammates, the people you're leading, and you have to take ownership. And so I think the ownership and the care part is really something I try to work on, and something that I've tried to cultivate in terms of just being there for guys, being available. Hey, you want to talk about something? You want to watch some extra film? Maybe you're not where you want to be role-wise. I'm here to talk to you about that, what we can do to improve that, and then the responsibility and the ownership thing. Like I said, this place means a lot to me, so I take full ownership of what we get done here, and yeah.
The academic component are the guys who say, if 35 can do it, I guess I can too.
Yeah. No, definitely the academic part of it. Spent a lot of time down in Mandy's office in the Smith Center, and that's where you have a lot of talks with guys. Guys are coming in and out of there, making sure everyone's on top of their business. If the man isn't right, the football's not going to be right. So you got to make sure you're taking care of business on and off the field, and that'll lead to good play.
What do you tell the incoming guys about that and about being a Spartan?
Well, with that part of it, I just say, utilize your resources. There's so many people here, training staff, nutrition staff, academic staff, that are here for you and are here to care about you and do. And so just lean into those people and really maximize your experience here. Be great at everything you do here. Don't just come here, and just care about, the hour and a half, 2 hour practice. Win each day in every phase of the day. And so that's sort of my message to the younger guys. Just really buy into this place from a comprehensive standpoint. Everything about this place is special. All the people here are special, and if you buy into that and you really lean into those people, you'll have a good experience here.
Last thing from me, what did your parents say when they found out you were captain?
They were definitely happy. There were a couple tears shed with my mom, and just because the journey here has been so long and uncertain. Coming in as a walk-on, multiple staffs, multiple position coaches, ups and downs in the seasons. Never really knowing what's going on sometimes, in a big picture sense. And so, just to have that honor, here in my last year means the world to me, and it means a lot to them too, just as they've seen me grow up.
How did your Lansing Catholic days prepare you to be a leader for this team now?
Yeah, I think I benefited a lot from those teams, in so far as Coach Smith talks about, the more connected we are, the more committed we'll become. And those teams at Lansing Catholic, chemistry won us games. You know what I mean? We were super connected, and so cultivating that same level of relationship and care with each and every person. It's a bigger team. We had like 30 guys at Lansing Catholic, but cultivating those relationships and really buying into that philosophy that the more connected we are, the more committed we'll become. getting guys to believe that and lean into that, I think definitely, sort of prepared me for this.
Sam, we talk about the honor that comes with being voted captain. We know that, but internally, what's some of the burdens that you carry when you have to be that leader for your team that we probably don't see or we don't kind of experience?
Yeah, I mean, the way I see it, when you're a captain, you can't have a bad day. You got to show up every day and be there for guys. Whatever's going on in your own life, you're ultimately.
Is that fair?
It doesn't really matter. It is what it is, and it really takes what it takes as a leader. I might have classes stressing me out. I might have other stuff going on, but when I'm in this building, when I'm around these guys, I got to be a rock. I got to be consistent. I got to be there for them. And so, you can call it a burden. I think it certainly is a burden sometimes, but it's kind of just cost of admission, what comes with being a leader. And the other thing, like I said too, ultimately a leader is responsible for the mission getting accomplished. And so, the announcement being made captain is very humbling, very honoring. It's also sobering. We got business to take care of. I don't want to just be a captain of another Michigan State football team that sort of gets washed away. I want to be a captain of a team that makes something of themselves, and we're working every day to make that happen. And ultimately, there's a responsibility factor with that of making sure guys are on top of stuff and doing it with them. Being accountable, being held accountable, holding other people accountable, and just making sure we're taking care of business.
Yeah, and last thing, you talked about being a rock. The advantage of being so close to your home, to your base, compared to gentlemen coming from all over the country, how is that an advantage for the leadership role and just being here as you wrap up?
Yeah, definitely an advantage. I think from a standpoint of really, digging in and owning this place means a lot to me. This place means a lot to me. And so when I can sort of communicate that of, look, guys, like, this is a special place. It's a special campus. I've been here through the ups and the downs. When we're winning games here, there's no place like East Lansing. And so really just communicating that vision to some of the new guys and getting that buy-in into this place and this program, it's definitely an advantage, coming from this play and being around, not just in my playing time, but I was in middle school when we won the Rose Bowl and whatnot, and I've seen winning football here throughout the years, and so knowing what that looks like and being able to talk about what that looks like definitely is an advantage.
How did you get the news that you're going to be a captain for this team? Like, how did you find out?
So we had a team meeting Saturday. It was like our last team meeting of camp, pretty much. We had voted earlier that week, I want to say on the previous Sunday, and Coach Smith kind of put a couple screenshots of some of the voting cards just to show we have a lot of leaders on this team, not just us five that got the honor, but we definitely have some leaders on this team, and he wanted to highlight that. So we went through, showed some of the things people were saying about guys they voted for, and then he said, of all these leaders up here, here were the top five, and he sort of went down the line. He actually announced me last, so I was getting a little nervous, but no. So it was a good good meeting, good experience. Really, like I said, humbling, honoring. I was definitely a little emotional and be here for so long and to get that honor. So it was special for sure.
Why have you stayed so long? Why have you stayed so long? Like, what's I know you have local ties and things like that. I could assume it's related to that, but in your words, why?
Yeah, I mean, definitely being from around here, the academic component. I got a double major from across the street in James Madison here. I'm working on a master's now. There's definitely the academic component, but really just like how special this program is. Like I said, I've seen winning football here as a player for a year. I've seen it growing up around here, and I really believe in what Coach Smith is doing to get us back to that point. And so, when he got hired, I was coming off my fourth year. I was set to graduate, and I did. I thought about it. I was like, from a playing time standpoint, I was like, I could probably go somewhere and maybe be somewhere that the linebacker room's not so deep, and maybe get a chance to play somewhere. I actually sat down with Coach Izzo, because Coach Smith was kind of transitioning, and we just talked about how much this place means to both of us, and what it means to really have a home. Some place you're going to bring your kids back and be proud of what you left, and that's ultimately what it came down to. I wanted to help Coach Smith build something here. I wanted to be a part of that and have some ownership stake in that.
How'd you arrange that meeting with Izzo? Did that just kind of happen? Kind of.
I kind of had my dad and him are kind of buddies, so I just was like, I'd like to sit down and talk to him, tell him where my mind's at, and he's the best guy. He took the time out of his day to sit down with me and talk, and so that was special.
You heard from him lately?
Yeah, I've seen him here and there, talked to him here and there, so we stay in touch.
What is it about this staff then that did sell you on it? Like, if you look back at going into last year, into this year, how much of that has come true in the build that you want to see?
Yeah, on one front, the development of the culture, beliefs, experience, behaviors. The development of the culture has really come along. As we had 61 new guys last year, and we were building right through the season. And just getting the buy-in there and developing that has been special, and I've seen it improve. And that's really special on the one hand. And then from the football side of things, I think we have an excellent staff. Coach Rossi is a fantastic football mind. He's a very good teacher. All of our coaches, position coaches, I see how detailed they are. I see how smart they are from a football intelligence standpoint. And I think we keep buying into their game plans and their schemes. We keep honing in on the details and tightening some things up. I think the on the field product is definitely going to improve, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes.
Having been around here and knowing the history of the program, I would imagine you probably heard people that, I don't want to say are doubting this coaching staff, but maybe we're a little unsold yet on it. What does this year mean in terms of selling that belief, in terms of showing the results to build? You got it inside, but how do you build it from the outside?
Yeah, no, I mean, at the end of the day, football is a production business, and it's a zero-sum game. There's a winner and a loser on every play. You get a 1 or a 0, and so the on the field product's got to be there, and I think we're building towards that. I think we're making great strides there. I think we've made great strides there. I thought we had a really good spring ball. I thought we've had a good camp. We're continuing to build. The hay's never in the barn. We're always going to be improving, right up until Friday night, right up through the season. But just getting more tightened up on the details, getting more experienced and detailed in the schemes themselves, I think is going to benefit our on-the-field play. And we're going to see better, more detailed football with the physicality that we've always striven to have, and the toughness and everything. And so I think it's coming, and I think people will be bought in soon enough.
Sam, I apologize if you've been asked about this, but Joe Rossi was talking about how he called you when he first came on. What did that mean to you for him to tell you that he wanted you?
It meant a lot. I'd done a little bit of research. Obviously, we'd played them in our most recent matchup against them in Spartan Stadium. Defensively, they dominated that game, and so I knew he was a smart coach. I knew he knew what he was doing. They've always been putting guys in the league. They've always been, one of the better, tougher Big Ten defenses over there on the western part of the conference. And so I trusted his stuff. I sat down with him, talked scheme just a little bit. He hadn't had the playbook fully, shirt up yet before that little winter break we had. But I sat down with him and just said, I'm all in, and I want to be a part of this deal, and whatever you need from me, I'm ready.
He said he wants you to coach. You think is that in the future at all?
We talk about it sometimes. We'll see. I definitely I'd never close the door to it. I love this game. Enjoy being here every day. It's a privilege, and so I'm definitely open to it. But got some other ideas too, so we'll see.
I think I heard that Jonathan Smith recruited you back for this year too.
Yeah.
Did something like that happen?
Yeah. So I mean, when I decided to come back for my 5th year, I added a minor to extend my undergrad. I was going to be done in the winter, and then sort of move on, Zion Law School and stuff like that. He actually sat me down, called me up the week of the Illinois game last year, and was like, I like having you around. I think your leadership is a very important factor on this team. I think you add a lot of value to this team, and I want to have you around. And we sort of talked about that and what all went into that, and left that meeting 100% confident I was coming back.
You mentioned your mom shed a tear when you were named captain. Is she a Michigan State grad or Michigan State fan?
She's not, but you know
She is now, right?
We've been here our whole lives, and similar deal, grown up around it and everything, and she's watched me grow up around it, and I know it means a lot to her, my whole family. And
You were a fan when you were younger?
yes, yeah.
What do you remember about the Rose Bowl? You mentioned you were in middle school at that time.
Yeah, I was in 6th grade. I was actually there, but just tough physical football. You know, a team that was playing together, playing for each other, fully bought in. You know, perfect example of the buy-in. Kyler Ellsworth, former walk-on linebacker. You know, we've a situation where a guy's not available, he steps up and makes the biggest play in the biggest moment. With Darian Harris there and the whole D-line and all those guys, and yeah, I mean, that's Spartan football, you know.
You said you were there?
Yeah,
You were where?
at the Rose Bowl.
You were at the Rose Bowl?
Yeah, yep.
Were you allowed to add a lot of games here during the season, too?
Yeah, yep.
A lot of them, season tickets type of thing?
Yeah.
All right, so Rose Bowl, what do you remember about that day? I'll let Graham get you. What do you remember about that whole thing?
Yeah, it was a special day, and like I said, just a good classic Michigan State football game. Physical, up and down, you know, never wavering, never flinching, and coming out on top, making the tough play when the tough play is needed.
You still have any souvenirs from that trip at all?
I'm sure I got some. I'd have to dig around, but I'm sure I got some.
Appreciate it, man. Congratulations.
Thank you very